Hello and welcome to another review, and today we're reviewing one of the bigger movies to come out this summer, and that is Solo, a Star Wars story. Now before I begin this video, a couple ground rules to this video. As you guys know, this is a huge blockbuster movie. Normally I would show you guys some pictures and stuff of the movie, however in this video review I'm refraining from using anything promotional or otherwise related to this film in this video, and if you're disappointed by that, it's just going to be a video of me talking, and I will get to that point in a minute here. Secondly, this video review is going to be completely 100% spoiler filled, so if you don't want any spoilers of Solo, a Star Wars story, then I will tell you right now before I begin this review, this movie sucks. Don't waste your time, don't go see it. I hated it. The end. But no, that can't be the end of the video review. You want to know why I hated it. That's why you're watching this video. And to start it off, spoilers incoming. Anyways, here we go. So when Solo, a Star Wars story was announced a while ago, I was already on the fence with Disney and Star Wars and everything. I've been bombarded the last 4 years, a lot of us have, with Star Wars this, Star Wars that. Star Wars is everywhere. The Force Awakens, while I do have my issues with that movie, I thought was a pretty decent return to form for Star Wars. I think it's a better movie than the prequel trilogy, and I think even though you can complain of the similarities and the comparisons to A New Hope, I think what it was set out to do was done perfectly, and I enjoyed it for what it is. And most importantly, the most important fact about The Force Awakens is that it felt like a Star Wars movie. I felt like I was watching a new Star Wars movie at that time, and that's the important thing to note here. 2016 brought us the release of Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This was a pretty solid movie too. I had my problems with parts of it. Parts of it I felt were almost poorly written fan fiction as well. However, now after seeing Solo, I have much more of an appreciation for Rogue One, a Star Wars story. However, Rogue One, better movie than I gave it credit for originally. And then obviously last year we had the release of the polarizing Last Jedi. And Last Jedi is a movie that I have disliked more and more as I've thought about it after my original review. My original review of The Last Jedi, I believe I gave it a C+. And while I do still stand by that grade for that movie, the more I think about The Last Jedi, the more I kind of dislike it. And the problem with that movie was that a lot of things just seemed poorly written. However, nothing at all could prepare me for how bad Solo, a Star Wars story actually is. So let's dive in. First thing you have to note is a lot of people were upset when they decided to do this movie, me included. And personally, I always looked at this situation as, you know what? I got 3 movies of young Han Solo. They were called the original Star Wars trilogy. I didn't need a movie to show me the Kessel Run. Also, his famous card game with Lando that has been talked about in the original trilogy but never shown. All of these things have been rumored to be in this movie. They are in this movie. Do not get me wrong. Those plot points do come up in this movie. And if there's one and only good thing I will say about this movie, other than the fact that it ends, is that Donald Glover is a fantastic Lando. He did an outstanding job, and I really have to commend his performance. Unfortunately, that's 20 minutes of a 2-hour and 15-minute movie. That's not good from start to finish. First thing I have to point out here is that this dude, who I'm not even going to try and butcher his name, he's not Han Solo. He never will be Han Solo. He doesn't look the part. He doesn't really act the part at all. And his performance is so incredibly flat, it took me out of the experience from the minute he opened his mouth in this movie. And I can understand Hollywood and Disney wanting to make a Solo movie, taking one of the most popular characters from the original trilogy and giving him a prequel movie. I get it. I understand it. However, if you're going to do that, at least get a damn actor that looks like Harrison Ford. They didn't even try. This dude looks worse than some cosplayers I've seen of Han Solo. If you don't believe me, just Google Han Solo cosplay, and I'm sure you'll find people that look even better than this dude in this Solo movie. That just looks awful. That's my first problem with this movie right out of the gate. Secondly, the movie starts with a very, very needless romance between him and Emilia Clarke's character, who I think her name was Quora, but it's spelled really weird. Their romance just doesn't make sense. from the beginning. I get it. They're both trapped on a planet whose name escapes me right now. They get out in a weird way, and then he kind of goes off and does his own thing to avoid everyone, and she basically goes and works for the Empire, which we'll get to that plot point. However, this leads to one of the most pivotal moments in this movie that I thought was just garbage, and that is the origin of his last name, Solo. It's so incredibly stupid that I laughed out loud while I was watching the movie. Basically what happens is, after he gets separated and he needs to get off this planet as fast as possible, he goes and joins up with the Empire to go join them on their quest. And as he's getting, basically getting himself in line, the guy asks him behind the counter what his full name is, and he says, I don't really have a family, so that guy just writes in Solo. That's how he got his last name? Solo? This dude just made it up and threw it on a sheet? That's garbage. That's incredibly lazy writing. I thought that was terrible. I know some people have defended it. I can't defend garbage like that. It's garbage. It sucks. Anyways, putting that aside, we then get scenes in this movie that just don't make sense other than for us to shake our fists and go, yeah, that's bad. Hey, war? War's bad. You know what? Let's shake our fists because war is bad. You know what? Slavery. Slavery's bad. Let's shake our fists because slavery's bad. It just seems like this movie has to hit these points on the head at all times. I'm not going to stand here and tell you something like slavery is good or war is good or anything like that. What I'm saying here is it felt like these were issues that were force-fed into a movie that didn't need them. I didn't need to see a backstory in which Han Solo went off to war in a senseless war that doesn't make sense for his character. That doesn't make sense for his character at all. Why is it in this movie? I don't know. We then get the introduction of Chewbacca. And honestly, out of everything I'll rag on in this movie, I didn't think the Chewbacca stuff was that bad. I actually thought it was okay. I enjoyed it for what it was. But, and whoever they got to replace Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca, I thought he did a pretty decent job. However, we could have done this better as well. Han Solo meets up with a group of scoundrels who want to basically perform a train heist, and we'll get to that here in a minute, and he joins up with them because he tries to blackmail them. And so he gets out of the war. He's in cahoots with Woody Harrelson, who just looks incredibly bored through this whole movie. Woody Harrelson, one of my favorite actors, he looked bored throughout the entire runtime of this movie. It didn't even look like he was having fun. He didn't even seem like he was trying to act. He just seemed bored, like he walked in on set one day after finishing War for the Planet of the Apes and said, hey guys, I guess I'm here, whatever, what's my line? That seems like what this was going for. He just seemed incredibly bored. And that's sad to see an actor bored when you're making Star Wars, and that's my biggest point here. This is Star Wars. We're ruining it. But anyways, we get to the next scene, which really dragged me down in this movie. So, Han Solo is a pilot. He's the best pilot in the galaxy, right? You know what? We've heard about the Castle Run. That's in this movie and everything. You can't tell me you couldn't come up with something more exciting or more original for a Han Solo Star Wars movie. The movie that's called Star Wars. It's Wars in the Stars. Than a train heist. That's what we get in Solo. A train heist. And yes, technically, Han Solo is piloting a ship during this train heist, but it's Han Solo, it's Star Wars. Why am I watching a train heist? Doesn't make sense. It's stupid, it's pointless. It's not even a fun action sequence in this movie. I thought it was dumb. It was dumb. Am I watching Star Wars? I didn't feel like it throughout this entire movie. I didn't feel like I was watching a Star Wars movie at all. Anyways, shit goes bad during this train thing. Whatever, we move on to the next parts of this movie. He meets back up, and I think I glossed over this point in the movie, but he ends up meeting back up with Cora after they go in and tell Woody Harrelson's boss in the movie, who's played by Paul Bettany, that, hey, shit went south, we need another way to do this. Thus, the Kessel Run happens. And we get to the Kessel Run, and the Kessel Run is dumb. It brings another part of this movie that I was really disappointed in, and that was, well, I think Lando, and Donald Glover does a fantastic job as Lando, is an awesome part of an otherwise turd of a movie. His robot sidekick is horrendous. So he has a robot sidekick, a female robot sidekick, who literally has a scene in this movie where she is expressing to Emilia Clarke's character about how she longs for a relationship with Lando, and how she thinks she's in a physical relationship with Lando. This is Star Wars! What the hell are we doing? Why is this robot talking about wanting to get with Lando? I'm watching a Star Wars movie. I had to ask myself through this entire movie, this entire 2-hour, 15-minute garbage fest, what am I watching? This is Star Wars. This isn't some other garbage. The whole time I'm watching this movie, what the hell is happening? It was, oh man. Man, I don't think I've hated a movie this much since A Cure for Wellness. And you guys all know how I felt about that garbage fire of a movie. This is that bad. For different reasons. This is that bad, and this is Star Wars. So we're going to kind of quickly roll through the events of this movie. Anyways, they do the Kessel Run. It was not nearly as exciting as I thought it would be. There's like a giant squid monster in the clouds. It looked bad because the CG kind of looked bad in this movie, at least I thought. In fact, the beginning of this movie is so incredibly dark and dreary, and it doesn't play with lighting very well in the movie. I almost felt like I was watching a made-for-TV movie. That's how bad it felt to me in the beginning. It does seem like it cleans up later on in the movie, but maybe it was just the print I was watching in the movie. I don't know. Shit goes bad. They do the Kessel Run. They get out. There's another group of characters that are introduced in this movie that had the potential. They had the potential to be a cool character until this character's helmet was pulled off. So there's a character, I think the character's name is Infus Nayas or something like that. I'm probably butchering it again. I don't really care. This movie sucks. Anyways, so whatever. Cool character. It's supposed to be a marauder, and this person is supposed to, you know, kind of be almost a bounty hunter type thing until they ruin it at the end of the movie when this character takes off their helmet and it's revealed to be a young girl who is basically just doing everything because her mom died. And they're starting a rebellion because I guess that's the person that started the rebellion against the Empire. I don't know, that's the gist I got of it, but man, it was bad. They had the potential to make a cool new original villain here, and they squandered it. And I was really put down by that. Because that was one other part of this movie where I was like, okay, I see it, this is okay. Oh no, train wreck. And that's the biggest part of this movie. There were instances where I kind of enjoyed little bits and pieces where I was like, okay, maybe this movie is going to actually be good, and then it just train wrecks itself into oblivion. So, the end of this movie, Emilia Clarke's character decides that she is actually a bad guy, and they kind of do a 180 here, and blah, 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 whatever. She's bad now, and she makes a call to her new boss because Paul Bettany's character is obviously killed. Spoiler, this whole thing is spoilers. She calls her new boss, who's a character, he's cloaked in a shadowy robe where you're like, who could this character be? Is it the Emperor? Is it a version of Darth Vader? You know, Vader's still alive at this time, so it totally could be Darth Vader. Just saying. And then the cloak comes back and the character talks some more and they stand up and the character has robot legs and oh shit, it's just Darth Maul. That's right, it's Darth Maul. That's your big reveal for the end of this movie. Darth Maul. I get it. Look, man, Darth Maul is from the extended universe. He was in the prequels. He died in Phantom Menace. I super get it. He's dead. Now, yes, there are storylines from the extended universe and the cartoons and stuff that resurrected him and brought him back. However, Disney threw out all of this stuff as canon, with maybe the exception of some of the cartoon stuff. I'm a little fuzzy on that. However, ever since they threw out all of this extended universe stuff, that has been better than most of what we've gotten from Disney. They have picked and pulled pieces of that extended universe to create their own thing, and they're doing that here. However, here are my problems with the Darth Maul thing. Number one, how the hell is he still alive? He was cut in half. Oh, he's got robot legs. Sure, whatever. Secondly, why the hell is he talking so much? This dude talked all day. He was a chatty Cathy the entire time. He's just chatting it up like he was the big badass bad guy that's running shit right now. Really? You were dead. And he never spoke. He never spoke in the original prequel movie. But now all of a sudden he's just chatting it up. Absurd. I laughed out loud. I'm sure the legions of Star Wars fans that went out this weekend to see this movie and gasped when it was revealed that it was Darth Maul, I laughed. I literally laughed out loud and said, yeah, sure, whatever, man, because that's how bad this movie is. I think it's lazily written. I think it's poorly executed. I think with the exception of Donald Glover, everyone does a bad job here. Look, I love Emilia Clarke, okay? Daenerys Targaryen, I love that character on Game of Thrones. She doesn't give her A game here. She's not very good. And it's not necessarily that she does a bad job. All of these actors are given shit lines in this movie, and it just doesn't make sense. I sat through this entire movie thinking, is this Star Wars? It doesn't feel like Star Wars. Oh, this robot, she wants to get with Lando, because that makes sense in a 2018 Star Wars movie that's technically a prequel to something that happened 40 years ago. Yeah, that super makes sense. None of this movie made sense. It's garbage. It's pure and utter trash. It's literal shit. I cannot condone it. I'm at this point now as a Star Wars fan where I don't care anymore. Disney has literally said to me, hey, did you like the stuff that you watched as a kid? Yeah, F all that. We're going to go ahead and make our own thing. Whatever. Hope you like it. It's canon. Have a good one. That's what's happened here. And with Last Jedi being kind of a blunder and this thing just being a complete pile of dog shit, I don't care about Star Wars at this point. I don't care what happens in whatever comes after The Last Jedi. You know, I got a little bit excited about the other day they announced the Boba Fett movie. That's a character we should have made a movie about. Not Han Solo, but seeing how poorly this movie was executed, I don't know if I even want a Boba Fett movie. I don't know if I want an Obi-Wan movie. I don't know if I want any of these extended universe movies anymore because of how bad Solo was. So, for first ever for the channel, the first time ever in channel history, I'm giving a letter grade of an F to a movie. And it's Solo, a Star Wars story. I hated this movie. I hated everything about it. From beginning to end, I did not enjoy this experience at all. Don't waste your time. If you're a Star Wars fan at all, don't waste your time. It's not good. It's not enjoyable. You're not going to have a good time at it. You know what? Go see Avengers Infinity War again. I happened to see this movie double billed at a drive-in with Avengers Infinity War, and you know what? I'd already seen Avengers Infinity War. I enjoyed Infinity War a second time, way more than I enjoyed Solo, a Star Wars story. And if you haven't seen Deadpool 2 yet, go see Deadpool 2. You know what? In a couple weeks, you're going to see Incredibles 2. Hell, Jurassic World 2, which doesn't look great if we're being honest, will probably be a better movie than Solo at this point. So anyways, guys, that's my review of Solo, a Star Wars story. It's kind of a rant. I'm kind of pissed at Disney right now for ruining Star Wars at this point. Anyways, we're giving the movie a letter grade of an F. First ever for the channel. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time.